Hello, my name is Emanuel Barrera. I am a senior public health major at UNCG. My poster presentation is on the topic of the Montagnard Population Count Project, MPCP, and its descriptive findings. I first of all want to thank Dr. Sharon Morrison, my research advisor, and I also want to thank UNCG ERSCO. The Montagnard Population Count Project is centered and focused around the Montagnards. The Montagnards are a refugee community from the highlands of Vietnam. They were allies with the U.S. during the Vietnam War. They resettled in the U.S. as refugees after facing persecution back in Vietnam. The first wave of Montagnards resettled in North Carolina in 1986, and in 1987 the first group migrated to Greensboro, and the population enumerated was 86. When this was collected, the data was distributed according to tribes, languages, age, and sex. 30 years later, we have no exact population numbers or basic demographic data, and this lack of enumeration means Montagnards remain an underserved and underrepresented Asian American group. Furthermore, in the 2010 census, the population was not well represented, and they were not listed in the race category or ethnicity category. And so many of the Montagnards were faced with selecting Vietnamese or write in Montagnards in the other section. The Montagnard Population Count Project, MPCP, is a community academic collaboration effort to count Montagnards and to describe their health status, strengths, and challenges. Our team used a culturally modified U.S. Census-based survey to collect data in Greensboro neighborhoods with Montagnards. With a sample of 61 households or 276 Montagnards, we are able to get a snapshot of our community 30 years later. In our results, our age profile outlines the various age groups including infants, toddlers, school-aged children, youth, working adults, and elderly. In the sex breakdown, we see that the population is pretty even, although the majority of the population is male. In regards to our health concerns, we ask questions regarding housing quality, English proficiency, health insurance, and elder care. With housing quality, we found that many Montagnards selected fair, but we saw that many Montagnards believe that to have housing is better than having no housing. In our English proficiency section, many selected good, but this was only true in the younger population, and we saw that many of the older adults and elderly only spoke one language, their native language. In our health insurance category, we saw that many of the community members had no form of health insurance, which also meant that many would not be receiving the necessary health care that they require. And those that did have health insurance were mostly low-income families with children through Medicaid. In regards to elder care, over 70% had no form of care for the elderly. In regards to the strengths and the weaknesses, some of the strengths that we saw were lots of youth leader involvement in local knowledge and resources, the ability to adapt, and a sense of community empowerment. Some weaknesses: church leaders could be hesitant to share information with the congregation or about the congregation. There was a lack of interpreters and/or translators, and thus created a language barrier even when asking simple survey questions. Some community members could also be very reluctant to give out their personal information. In our discussion, we want to highlight the large number of Montagnards in the age group of 19 to 44 years old. They indicate an active working adult population who contribute to household income. Many are juggling jobs and caring for their elders, making elder care a priority concern. The results also align with the Montagnard anecdotal accounts of reliance on cultural ways, adaptability, and now the next generation of youth leaders for survival in American society. These strengths are tempered with present-day concerns and caution about privacy and disclosure of their personal information for local and national census. In conclusion, this project highlighted the importance of understanding Montagnard population context and the need for targeted education outreach to address fears and concerns. Montagnards will need special messaging to gain their confidence and full participation in the 2020 census. Their representation will open access to health and economic resources to improve their community's well-being. Thank you.